bienvenue dans cette dernière salle pour aujourd'hui. Vous m'entendez tous bien? Comme d'habitude, tout va bien? J'imagine que oui. Super. Alors, je vais vous faire une petite présentation de Yuri, Suzuki. Ensuite, on va voir une vidéo qui est sur ce grand écran noir. Et enfin, je vais avoir le contacter via Zoom et vous le transmettre en partage d'écran pour qu'il vous fasse sa conférence. Parce qu'il n'est pas familier à Mozilla et préférerait un autre moyen de communication. Alors, Yuri Suzuki, c'est un artiste sonore, un artiste d'installation, un designer et un compositeur de musique électronique qui produit des œuvres qui explorent le domaine du son à travers des artefacts musicaux. Son travail questionne la relation entre les personnes et le son, et la manière dont la musique et le son affectent les esprits. Il travaille à l'intersection de l'installation, de l'interaction et de la conception de produits. Il a participé à de nombreuses expositions, à la Tate Moderne à Londres, au MoMA à New York, Musée d'art moderne de Tokyo. Et sa pièce Ototo, que nous allons voir dans la vidéo, a été intégrée à la collection permanente du MoMA en 2016. Donc je vous propose en premier lieu de visionner une vidéo sur laquelle a travaillé une étudiante du Pavillon Bosio, Célia U, que je profite pour remercier. Elle y a fait une sélection de pièces emblématiques de l'artiste que vous allez découvrir dans un montage assez vivant et énergique. C'est un format court, donc 12 minutes. Et tout de suite après, donc, Yuri nous proposera une conférence intitulée « Sound Design in the Age of COVID-19 », à travers laquelle il va nous expliquer comment, selon lui, notre relation au son a évolué depuis le début de la pandémie de la COVID-19 et il explorera les thèmes de la communication, de l'acoustique domestique et des environnements de travail, de l'intérieur par rapport à l'extérieur et du rôle de la technologie dans nos vies quotidiennes. Alors, je vous propose de passer la vidéo donc montée par Célia. Comme tout à l'heure pour Marie-Ève, c'est bien mieux si vous passez par l'icône en haut à droite des 3 petits cubes là, pour avoir la vidéo en plein écran et un son un peu meilleur. Voilà. So this piece is called Charivari, and basically crystal-made musical instrument. And all like element is controlled by like some mechanical element and hitting like a crystal-made bells. I'm standing as a sound artist and sound designer. I really want to find a new property of the crystal. So that means sound, resonation coming from the crystal. Something I really want to take from this project is more about material investigation of what kind of material can use for like musical instruments. Crystal is quite difficult, but in the same time, like making really beautiful sound we can get from that.
I believe my practice can helping people to creating like a new equipment or like a new musical instruments. I decided to be a musician or artist and like creating the dream musical instruments because I have the background for the knowledge for music. At the same time, I learned basic interaction design and product design as well. So I started making kind of physical interface because people like missing tactility or like something touch to create something. What if we expand into like a much larger like a structure? Then what kind of music creation we can make? That's actually the basic concept.
Essentially, we have these massive inflatables in space. Each unit controls one parameter of the sound system. So we've got the giant cube, which is kind of the big centerpiece in the space. That sets the beat. Then we have 2 spheres and 2 cans. The white sphere and the white can, they generate music, and their black counterparts, they manipulate and modulate the sound.
It's really depends on position. You can put different effect.
I think for me, it's always like a priority is kind of physicality. You basically are kind of like a large playground to playing with large inflatables to just physically like interact with it and actually translate into music. The movement and the sound should be like linked somehow. It's a really, really simple structure, but what if like cooperate with 5 people like pushing over together, accidentally create music or something? That's something I wanted to try to see from the project. This event is really purely for music tech and also like synthesizer and what kind of like musical interface we can develop in the future. I immediately thought about our like longer time collaborator like Raven Tech and how we can work together to like forming an idea for installation for VR robot.
What Raven really wants to do is just to explore all the possibilities of how we're gonna change the world from a technology and art perspective. You do a very complicated, almost academic music experience. You transform it into something like kids can play. I think that's the most powerful message I learned from all your project. Just to lower the barrier of the music experience for anybody across the nation, across the age, across gender. I think that's super important.
The installation is actually locating right outside of the Tana Contemporary Museum. And it's really backside of the museum, but has got really amazing kind of concrete wall in there. And you can immediately see like kind of really spectrum color of the different horns standing, like 12 of them. Each horn has got different color. We choose a specific color for represent one district.
When you sing into the horn, you get something closer to your own voice that's been modified.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello.
Each like horns has got one specific voice. So you feel like standing in front of the real choir.
So the house was completely destroyed.
Behind those horns, we have basically a computer that is running a few different AI systems. We've taken one of these big current AI models called the GPT-2 by the OpenAI Foundation in America, which is openly available. And we have given it this text corpus that we have collected from the Kentish community to kind of teach it to speak about topics that people in Kent are talking about. Now we are also using another AI model behind the scenes, because when we have the outputs from the language model, which is text-based utterances, we still need to do some work to turn that into music. And for that we have another AI model that is inside the computer, which generates melodies. And this model has been trained by Bob Sturm at the KTH Institute in Stockholm. So what it can do is create new folk melodies, folk song melodies based on old English and Irish folk tunes. So what we do with that is we create new melodies based on that AI, and then we create lyrics based on this other AI, and then we have some further processing to put those together.
Every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes has got totally new compositions coming in. So, and sometimes brilliant music, sometimes really uncanny music, and also more and more like contribution coming in, because it's installed on site and people keep contributing a new melody or like new lyrics. So it is kind of gonna be great to see like a progression of the kind of how like a song gonna be developed in the whole like 3 to 4 months.
Just love the sea color. I know I can really see my face that I read it.
Avec Yuri, je vais partager mon écran sur le grand écran central. Ah. Je dois le mettre à côté. Ça y est, ouais. Voilà. Alors, il est tout en haut, il a partagé son écran. Je vais lui faire signe qu'on a commencé. Je vais lui passer la parole. Okay, Yuri, all the students and teachers, everyone from the Pavillon Bosio is now listening to you and watching you. Oh, il me voit pas. Okay, Yuri, it's done. Now
Yep.
all our students are listening to you and watching you. Welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. So shall I start then?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for invitation. My name is Yuri Suzuki, and today's topic is about the link between like lockdown and sound, but as well as I'm gonna briefly introduce my practice. Myself has got kind of complex for practice, something between art, design, and music. So often categorize myself as these three kind of occupation in the way: artist and the designer and the musician. And then as well as I joined a company called Pentagram 2 years ago as a partner, and I'm leading team doing like sound design as well as installation design. And coming to the topic, the question of what sound design is about. And it's really related to lockdown time of the importance of the sound. So I'm gonna talk through a presentation about what is sound design. So initial inspiration of the furniture and music came from the inspiration of the furniture music, the name of the composition done by Eric Satie, and back to 1917. And he created music, which is not functional music, more about working as a background, which is almost function as a part of the interior, part of the furniture. That's what he called as like furniture music. And then that's, as a composition, it's quite musical. It's very far from background music. However, I took that idea as developing my practice. And one ongoing project called Redesign Soundscape. I found this video on the YouTube called "The Most Annoying Alarm Clock in the World." I think quite important to think about what kind of sound could be attached in our daily moments, such as waking up, which is you're starting new day. And then that is sort of celebration as well. However, you want what kind of sound? It needs to have function for the waking you up and enough volume to provoking it. At the same time, you don't want the annoying or like making uncomfortability based on that sound. And then think about related to where I am working as a partner at Pentagram. So many company creating like sound as identity, and such as a great example, Apple. They have got identity sound called startup sound. So if you can think, the company once deciding one specific sound, they tend to not changing identity sound for a long time. And something I'm gonna pray from now is evolution or development of the Nokia ringtone for past 2 decades or 3 decades, basically. Nokia, personally, I have a great respect to Nokia because they have got quite simple industrial design as well as technology, and also simple interaction design as well. However, sound itself hasn't been developed enough. And a human being, actually, if you have repetition, people actually considering which is became something uncomfortable because the human brain is easy to detect repetition, especially sound, the perception of the human reacting quite negatively. So I strongly think companies, like especially Nokia, the informative sound should regularly have to be changed. And the original sound composition of this Nokia, famous ringtones, came from this composer called Alexis Tárrega. It's Francis Tárrega from Spanish guitarist, and he composed music called the Grand Bass in '92. The sound, actually, Nokia sound coming from this composition. Can you hear the sound okay? I take us it's fine. Okay. And then also like this actually people treating as one of the most provocative sound in public spaces. So this is one of the example. What's happened to the night concert? So if you can consider original music, it's really pleased, very nice like classical music, and just repeating same phrase again and again, which is actually became quite provocative, and that's really have to consider, and as a perception of the human being doesn't want to have repetition. However, some company considering quite well for the sound design, especially a company called Microsoft. I wouldn't say like they haven't really successful kind of a branding for a long time, because each time they have to update brand new like identity. And recently, like our partner PolarShare did a quite successful Windows campaign, but till then, Windows never done quite like reasonable that kind of image they can create. However, they did a very good progression on the sound design. So that was from Identity Music from Windows 95, and which is one of the became classic because Brian Eno composed like this like startup sound, and there's still people listening for this like startup sound. And coming to public sound design, I'm living in England, London. London is one of the cities I can find quite a lot of bad sound design. This train line called Dockland Rail Service, which was established in 2004, we can hear quite provocative sound design came from here.
This is Cyprus.
So each time is stop announcement finish, making sound a very high tone, and which is analyzed 2,200 hertz, which is really brutally vibrating human's eardrum. So it really shouldn't use this kind of sound for public sound design. I found a very beautiful example from Switzerland, and Swiss like train line carriage has got like an adjustmentable volume for the announcement of the sound, which is I feel like a very great example of the sound design. And of course, sound design tend to be more about musicians used to be taking care about it. However, some designer attempt to create very nice proposal for sound design. This is from Drug Design from 1994. It's called Bottoms Up Doorbell, which is quite a nice way for narrative, because basically someone coming to your door is celebration that like people visiting to your house. And this is actually functional doorbell. So basically this object creating sound of cheers when people pushing the button. And it sounds very pleased and not electronic, not distorted, and a very nice settled sound can create. And I inspired from this project, and I did a workshop called Design Your Doorbell. I was invited back 2000, I think 10 in Sweden called ESPIS. They asked me to conduct sort of a developing project. And I decided to create a series of kit, really primitive, looks like a Meccano or Lego looking kit. But I invited some like industrial designer and also artist and also musician to creating different identity or different meaning of the like doorbells. And then they came up with an idea, a series of like a quite speculative and quite unique narrative, as well as like sound design or as a doorbell. So one element is creating sort of a much changing sound devices, much changing sound doorbell, as well as kind of cracking bread making sound. That's very like far-fetched idea. However, conceptually quite strong, I thought. So I'm keep doing like encourage people to considering what kind of sound we should design to think about, because perspective between musician and also designer is different. We have to consider what kind of sound could fit to our daily life, almost like designing furniture. And also a great example from Richard Sapper, one of the most like significant industrial designer in our time, created kettle for Alessi. And the kettle is tended to making whistle. However, because steam technology, the sound is quite aggressive, very high tone whistle sound we can get. However, he redesigned that part and making two whistle and making very beautiful harmony when water is boiled, and which is actually making more comfort to the human. So such a simple idea, however, works significantly well if you like waiting for water to be boiled and suddenly has got sort of like a little bit low tone and harmony coming in from like a kettle. I thought this is a very beautiful idea and drive me to create this project called Musical Kettle. So Musical Kettle looks like this. Basically has got mechanical valves on the whistle. And when water is boiled, this instrument or this kettle playing your favorite music. And still this is under construction back to 2008. So this is basically like how we can customize your favorite music or like your favorite sound in our daily like sound touch point. And I'm gonna talk about another aspect, and like between sound and noise. And sound and noise very close together, and which is quite similar topic. This is a very beautiful video by Swedish director created drummers making music with in one apartment. So I can quickly play this song. Sorry. Gosh, I'm really sorry for that. So something I want to say is all house element, if you make one single sound, which is not organized. However, if you put in a pattern or like rhythm pattern, people treat as music. And a great example is Matthew Herbert, who is, I really respect this composer. And he created house music based on the object can find in the house and creating very beautiful like series of composition made in the household objects. And then this is another example relation between noise and the sound. So this like road called Melody Road, which we can find quite often in Japan. So idea behind for this project is road has also texture. Once you're driving on top of the road, that texture making vibration, which actually making pitch sound and also rhythm. So actually vibration sound and noise became music. So this is really one of the beautiful pattern. So they not purposely creating this project as a musical way. They always want to control speed of the car. However, I think as a sub effect, we can hear like how noise translate into the music, which is a very nice transition we can hear from this. And another topic about psychological effect. As the sound is one of the closest sense to the human, like second to the smelling skill, I think. And which is actually giving a lot of psychological effect in positive way and a negative way. So if you see this video, it's quite impressive things we can find out.
Okay, there she is, she's crying. But then,
So this is a fact. When newly born baby, once hearing sound of this particular noise called white noise, that's almost sound like kind of sound, then actually the fact baby gonna be calmed down and also like having relax because that sound quite similar to inside of the mother's body, like inside the womb. And really interesting fact, many parents naturally learn like how to calm down baby. If you put in the keyword to YouTube, how to calm down crying baby, you can find millions of video. Many parents try to calm down baby in the kind of household object making white noise. So for example, we can actually create a white noise with a shower or like water or sort of like kind of a washing machine and so on. So that's really interesting factor in there. And I did a project called Child Chiller White Noise Trumpet. So I had to like clearly mention that white noise sound electrically can be generated, but at the same time, white noise is like electrically generated sound could be bad effect to the human brain. So it wasn't suited for children. So I created a musical instrument which purely creating white noise. And so if you see the structure, it looks like straw talking to this sphere. and that's brewing it, like that's breath translating to the white noise sound, and this horn amplify the sound. So when baby's crying, using this equipment to calm down baby. And another interesting fact, how music and sound affect the human's behavior. This is a quite famous song called Gloomy Sunday by famous chanson singer called Damia. And this is a really famous story that this song causing around 12 people suicide. And then that is the fact that Hungary government decided not to broadcast this song on any radio. Because of course, like this song during First War time, and it was quite depressive time, and the music extremely dark, and that is partially like reason people has been kind of committed suicide. But quite interesting fact, which is the kind of causing people to do anything.
Un beau dimanche, les bras tout fargés de fleurs, je suis entrée dans notre chambre, le cœur là, car je savais déjà que tu...
So this like song is quite famous, and I think film was created based on this music. So if anyone interested, please have a look. And back to topic for more about the music for lockdown. I basically had quite a general introduction toward to what sound design about, and also which really related during this period because people spending more time inside of the house. And then as well as you might recognize, probably most of your communication became based on Zoom, Skype, Google Hangout. And we used to not realize acoustic or surroundings of the house sound before, but now extremely cautious about what kind of surrounding is important to our life. And then one great project I got commissioned from organization called Music City. They asked me to create a music composition, which is actually unbuilt by quite famous architect. So GPAP House was originally designed by Richard Rogers, and very unique in a way because it's using modular style. And then like basically commission is about kind of reflecting to this like house and create something. Then what I've done is once you look on this picture and this plan looks very interesting because a lot of empty spaces, and also looks like this square structure works as acoustic chamber. So I was sort of break down into this architect structure as more like how we can creating instruments to using this architecture structure. So basically created series of strings, and also what if has got 6 drummers, and in this like architecture house, and what kind of music composition can create. So we decided to start doing acoustic simulation on the computer, and what kind of reverb, what kind of delay, and also what kind of sounding we can get. So we have got kind of precise calculation to creating like treating this house as a musical instrument. So I can play quickly for what kind of music we made. So this sound you are hearing now is sound coming from bottom end kind of tension structure, because making sound of the very like kind of laser gun kind of style sound. In fact, this sound used for, if you see Star Wars, so laser gun sound created by very tension wire sound. And if you look on the top part, it has got a house structure, but we decided to put like strings. So what if some bowing and pizzicato is happening, what kind of sound is coming in? So that's kind of acoustic simulation that works extremely well for the, kind of our time. And then, so like this is one of the projects. So also you can hear the string sound, basically people bowing and kind of really like a large amount of the kind of raw sound we can get that actually cannot get in small structure. So architecture structure only can make that kind of sound. So if you're interested, also please like listen this presentation. It's on website. And the next one, this is also very related to time of the pandemic. So like let me share this project. So this is on like web-based, like I have to show you now. So this project I've got commission from Dallas Museum Art in Texas. We did an exhibition called like speechless exhibition. It's about sensing. So I made an installation, like I can quickly show them on my website. So installation about people interacting with a big sphere ball, and has got actuator inside. You can hear the like sound of the words through the vibration. So this is a really big, like 2.5 meters height, like a sphere, and the people actually have to put in the ear to listening sound. However, because of pandemic effect, we unfortunately cannot show this work anymore because that's increasing potential of the people to get like infection. So I've got commission to recreating version of this installation, and as well as reflecting this pandemic moment. So if you look on here, so this is basically Platon. So this black sphere is basically referring to in the earth. And this website is very simple. So if you want to record or submit any audio video files or like recording sound, basically you can put sound into these like dots. So all geographic information taken from like audio and also sound files. So slowly creating sound globe map. That's basically we wanted. So this is both aspects. People, you can contribute sound, and as well as you can browsing sound as well. So I can like play a little bit for that. Like roughly you can see like which contribution the where came from. Like such as like this part is actually came from UX part. And the contribution is really mixture between like sound, like voice, or like some sound recording of the ambient sound. So which is very kind of sometimes personal and quite general kind of a contribution. However, once you like browsing on the experience, because especially we did this project during March, which is totally lockdown. You are like completely disconnected from like society, and actually sound contributed around the world really helps connectivity. You are still in this world, and people still like living in this world. So this project has been quite popular, and after that, once we launch, it's absolutely black sphere. It's no contribution was there, but slowly increasing people submitting sound, and you can browsing sound as well. So which is really growing up project at the moment. So like this is one of the things, and also back to the topic of the like regarding the design soundscape in the way, because this project I did before COVID and the pandemic time, but the idea behind this project is really about my answer or like sort of observation toward to how sound design should be. So I'm just quickly play this video. I hope it's fine at the time. Sound has a strong effect on the people. It can give us comfort and a lot of other positive effects. Meanwhile, if it is designed battery, it can also give us discomfort and distract us from enjoying life. My name is Yuri Suzuki. I'm a sound artist and designer based in London. The exhibition title Furniture Music comes from Set of Music by Eric Satie. It is original ambient music. I have always been inspired by his compositions as well as Brian Eno's work. For this exhibition and in my work, I want to have closer attention to the sound which surrounding us and offer subtle improvements through my design. These automated rain sticks are controlled by live data streamed from beaches across the world. This data is used to simulate sound waves. Using white noise and random oscillations, I wanted to create a soothing and relaxing soundscape. This table amplifies any movement or noise on the table with the acoustic chamber. If you have a conversation with someone, it always feels more comfortable to have subtle noises around. This piece is my attempt to create a table which allows people to have better conversations. I believe washing machine and blenders are most noise household tools. This idea came from Matthew Herbert, and who asked me, what if we could use sound from them to make music instead of disruptive noise? The musical kettle developed from a similar concept. When water is boiled, this kettle tells you with your favorite music. White noise has got a lot of properties. One of them is making silence, originally developed in India back 2009. My white noise machine is a simple way of masking sound. This mobile phone has a music box inside, instead of electronic sound from tiny speaker, which is probably quite provocative. You can get a better quality acoustic sound, which is more pleasant for us to hear. I believe sound is a very strong medium and influences us a lot. I hope this exhibition stimulates visitors to listen carefully to what sort of noises or sound exist in the world, and to reconsider if that is what our homes, cities, or parks should sound like in the future. So this is just like a reflection of the idea of what sound should be in the way, like series of objects I created for this project. And then I'm just like really specifically like today's talk is really about relation between sound design and also lockdown time as well. And then as a practice, I can talk about it.
s'est arrêté. Eh bien, il semblerait que Zoom est planté. Hey Yuri, it seems it has crashed.
Right, I thought it's 40 minutes. No, I think it's not crashed.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can just like I can talk like a bit more. Then I think I can share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it connected now?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. So let me. Can you allow me to share screen?
Oh yes. And we will have maybe if you want 5 minutes more.
Yeah.
If it's okay
with
with you. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Can you allow me to be host? Sorry.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. So yeah, seems something disconnected, but just quickly talk about sort of like again the topic of the lockdown and the pandemic time as well. So as you can see, most of like my practice like doing a lot of like a product base and the installations and the really physical presence in the way. And however, due to lockdown time, like we quickly have to adjust into our practice into more online based and non-physical based experiences. And one great example, the ones that's like Sound of the Earth and the Sound of the Earth pandemic chapter. And another one we designed called 808-303 Studio. So I've got kind of commission from a company called Roland and also Design Museum about creating sort of an online platform to people learning how to creating music. So currently Design Museum running exhibition called, what's the name, right? It's called Electronic. It's all about electric music and dance music history exhibition. And then as you can imagine, like most of the museums are struggling because basically cannot invite any guests these days. And also, especially public program, because function of the museum also education as well, and children to learn, someone to learn something from activities. But now, total lockdown, people cannot go for the museum, so that's why like kind of created, proposed to make this project to be happen. So Roland as a company, they producing electronic musical instruments, and which is very powerful like sound, also very iconic for the electric music. And very unique inventions they created called step sequence. So basically, this is like kind of a matrix segment. And then this indication learning, and here put the element, and you can adding sound. And even like randomly you put actually quite musical. So this is evolution for the electric musical instruments, because basically people doesn't know about music. They can easily to compose music based on this. Well, I wanted people to learn how to creating music from online experience. It's not really new things, but redesigning something more simple or much more shareable in a way. So this is bass machine. So you can have a combination, the link between drama and the bass sound making some music. And you can change the parameter as well. So I think great things about this one, it's also you can recording sound, and you can quickly share your own social channels, because instead of showing in real to the people, now everything shared on like social media more than ever now. So like this kind of platform and also shift like practice in that way would be great to share for like today's lecture. That is very clear.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yuri.
No problem. But are we taking any question or anything?
I'll ask our audience.
Yeah.
Alors, est-ce que quelqu'un aurait une question pour Yuri? Not for the moment, but maybe I have one. You can answer quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This was about, as an artist, a designer or a composer, I was wondering if there was a moment in the creative process when you allow mistakes to happen or happy discoveries, or on the contrary, as we must imagine as a designer, do you plan all the steps in advance so that the object of music you obtain is exactly what you had in mind?
Yeah, I think it's always sort of improvisation sometimes, because we worked sometimes very short project, like sometimes we very quickly have to resolve some project to be happen. So in the beginning, concept should be clear, and I always have to think about the concept is, I really have to say, narrative and the concept is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But more about sometimes like we have to adjust the idea or curving or changing the idea because of the difficulty, or sometimes process for technical difficulty. Also like museum doesn't want it, so we have to change that. So we always like we plan really like basic part and concept, but always like toward to reaching the goal. Sometimes like we had to be like totally different idea coming up. So it's really about case by case, but we never planned everything perfect from the beginning.
Yeah. Sometimes it's better, no?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, I would say that this is a really great process to do it, and especially teamwork. I'm not only me, like I'm working with team of 3, and it's always discussion and always some new idea coming in. We always have to make it better for the idea.
Okay.
So
thank you very much.
I might have a question.
I'm not sure Yuri is hearing you, so I will. Come here, Ondine.
Okay.
I'm gonna pass the microphone to a colleague, Ondine.
So Yuri, thank you very much for your talk. It's a little bit provocative, but I would like to know what do you think of silence?
Silence, yeah. So first of all, I think subtle silence is gonna be great things instead of requiring with the environment. But I'm not sure like you've been like experiencing sort of a total silence room. Has got kind of insulation material everywhere, so there's no sound reflection, absolutely silence. That makes me so uncomfortable, almost like feel scared about it, because a human being is actually grown up with subtle noise, because this is world, someone living is always making sound. So there's no absolute silence exists in the world. So I would say silence is very comfortable, but same time absolute silence will be very uncomfortable for the human. And because personally I went to that kind of acoustic chamber room, no sound. I couldn't stay more than 3 minutes, because you start hearing sound of your heartbeat, and you just feel nausea for that. So, which is very good experience, but it's can be quite big torture as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So
thank you.
We're going to switch again with Mathieu. So maybe there is other questions in the audience. I don't know.
Thank you, Odi. Just checking the audience. Oh, there's another question. Yeah, from a teacher from Pavillon Bosio. I'm reading this to you. When you made Charivari for Miami Design in 2016, how the question disappeared? Wait a minute, it's gonna type it again.
No problem.
Yes. How aware are you of the very similar work made by Éléonore Mercier with Tibetan bowls in 2011 called Le Damasama?
Which one is it? Can you send me how to spelling it?
Damasama, D-A-M-A-S-S-A-M-A.
Sorry, one more time. So sorry, I'm bad at spelling. So how to spell it?
D-A. Oh, I can write it to you in Zoom.
Yeah, it would be great. Yeah.
It's called.
You have a link down there.
La Damasama. Let me check. Okay. I didn't really aware this work. However, setup looks quite similar. But I just have to talk about the part of the Charivari project is, I think interaction is a very small part. Something that challenge for that project is if you can think about Swarovski as a company of the making kind of a visual light effect and reflection into that. But my challenge for that project is how we can find a property of like a crystal, which is as a sound source. So that was biggest challenge for that project. And then that part of the kind of interaction came just for, as an installation idea. But my biggest achievement for that project is to think about crystal company which is them to realize material of the crystal as a acoustic material, as a musical instruments material. That was very that was my achievement for that project. But the setup looks quite similar, but I didn't know about this project. But I'm not sure how the interaction going to be same or not. I only saw the picture at the moment.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Yuri. That was very instructive.
I hope it's enough question to answer.
No, I think that's all.
Everything okay? Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
if you have any question, let me know.
Okay, I will send it to you by email, or maybe you can arrange another appointment and another day.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everyone, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye, Yuri.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much.
Et voilà, ça y est. C'est la fin du premier jour. Oui, quelqu'un veut dire un mot de la fin?
Non, je voulais juste vous remercier tous d'avoir, pour votre attention. Et puis, je crois que ça a été une très belle journée, très dense, avec beaucoup de conférences, d'interventions qui ont produit des phénomènes d'écho entre les mots, entre les idées et peut-être entre les formes aussi. Donc demain, la journée sera assez différente dans les contenus. On va parler peut-être davantage de la fabrication des choses aussi, et puis du big data, voilà, de ce que l'on peut faire aujourd'hui avec, comme je le disais en introduction, ces masses colossales, ces chiffres vertigineux d'images, de data qui sont dans les serveurs et dans nos ordinateurs. Donc, je voulais en tout cas vous remercier tous, vous donner rendez-vous à 9h précise, parce qu'on a un rythme assez tenu demain. Et voilà, vous souhaitez une bonne soirée. Damien et Mathieu, qui sont à côté de moi, bien sûr, s'associent à...
Merci pour votre patience.
Donc à ça, vous remercie vraiment pour votre attention. Et donc, on vous retrouve demain à 9h. Maintenant, je sais que vous allez tous très bien vous débrouiller avec cet outil. Donc, on va passer encore une très belle journée ensemble. Voilà, bonne soirée à vous tous et à demain.
Bonne soirée, à demain.
Bonne soirée, à demain. Vous avez le lien, vous avez reçu le lien pour demain dans vos mails. Ciao à tutti.